Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Chagana Raghunathanidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sanyavadi Paschatadeshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo 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 Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Nameva Vratiche Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishna Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Yeah.
That's it, there is no Sunday.
Hare Krishna. Somebody can read the chapter. Or we can read the previous chapter, last section. Maybe we can read this. Attracting Krishna. Attracting Krishna, Srila Rupa Goswami stated.
Attracting Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami has started the devotional service, attracts even Krishna. Krishna attracts everyone, but devotional service attracts Krishna. Krishna. The symbol of devotional service is the highest degree in Radha is Radharani. Krishna is called Madana Mohana, which means that he is so attractive that he can defeat the attractions of thousands of cupids. But Radharani is still more attractive, for she can even attract Krishna. Therefore, devotees call her Madana Mohana Mohini, the attractor of Cupid. To perform the devotional service means to follow in the footsteps of Radharani. And devotees in Vrindavana put themselves under the care of Radharani in order to achieve perfections in their devotional service. In other words, devotional service is not an activity of the material world, it is directly under the control of Radharani. In Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that the Mahatmas or great souls are under the perfections of Daivi Prakriti, the internal energy, Radharani. So, being directly under the control of internal potency of Krishna, devotional service attracts even Krishna himself. This fact is corroborated by Krishna in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 14th chapter, verse 20, where he says, My dear Uddhava, you may know it from me that the attractions I feel for devotional service rendered by my devotees is not to be attained even by the performance of mystic yoga, physiological speculations, ritualistic sacrifices, the study of Vedanta, the practice of senior austerities, or the giving up everything in charity. There are, of course, very nice activities, but they are not as attractive as me as the transcendental loving services rendered by my devotees. How Krishna becomes attracted by the devotional service of his devotees is described by Narada in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 10th chapter, verse 48 and 49. There, Narada addresses King Yudhishthira, while the king is appreciating the glories of the characters of Prahlad Maharaj, the devotee always appreciates the activities of other devotees. The Yudhishthira Maharaja was appreciating the qualities of Prahlada, and that is one symptom of a pure devotee. A pure devotee never thinks himself great. He always thinks that other devotees are greater than himself. The king was thinking, Prahlad Maharaj is actually a devotee of the Lord, while I am nothing. And while thinking this, he is addressed by Narada as follows: My dear King Yudhishthira, you, the Pandava brothers, are the only fortunate peoples in the world. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared on this planet and is presenting himself to you as an ordinary human being. He is always with you in all circumstances. He is living with you and covering himself from the eyes of others. Others cannot understand that he is a supreme Lord, but he is still living with you as your cousin, as your friend, and even as your messenger. Therefore, you must know that nobody in the world is more fortunate than you. In Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna appeared in his universal form Arjuna prayed, My dear Krishna, I thought of you as my cousin brother, and I have shown disrespect to you in so many ways, calling you Krishna or friend. But you are so great that I could not understand. So that was the positions of the Pandavas. Although Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, the greatest among all greats, he remained with those royal brothers, being attracted by their devotions, by their friendships, and by their love. This that is the proof of great this process of devotional service. Correct. It can attract even the supreme personality of Godhead. God is great, but devotional service is greater than God because it attracts Him. People who are not in devotional service can never understand what great value there is in rendering service to the Lord.
Hare I'd like to quickly revise what we discussed last time.
We are discussing different characteristics of pure devotional service mentioned by Srila Rupa Goswami. Hare
Maybe you
Krishna.
can just repeat this. क्लेशाग्नि शुभदा
क्लेशाग्नि सुपदा
मोक्षलभुता कृत्सु दुर्लभा सुंदरानंद विशेषात्मा श्री कृष्णाकर्षणी च सा Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, so we were discussing different properties or characteristic of pure devotional service that is mentioned by Srila Rupa Goswami. So like we discussed about like how pure devotional service removes or gives us relief from all kind of klesagnis. So in that we discussed about different klesagnis like the like different like bodily defect and any like legal implications or in, like when we are like not educated or illiterate. So in that different characters we have brought and we discussed on that examples, different examples like chronic diseases. We discussed about Vasudev Pepper in Chaitanya Charitamrita and legal implication like drug mafia, how he became pure and though he got the punishment, but again he got released. Similarly, the person who is born in lower degraded families like Western devotees when they went to Vrindavan and there they were blessed by the priest and that time when Srila Prabhupada said you all are already exalted. So like even uneducated, the South Indian Brahman in Ramanan Swami temple, how he was reading the Bhagavad Gita, just following the Guru's instruction, those was not really able to read properly or not. And ugly like Urja. So all these things we discussed on the point of Kesar.
So basically we discussed that how it removes aprarabdha phalam papam, right? Like that was we discussed. It removes aprarabdha and prarabdha. And not only aprarabdha and prarabdha, but also kutam and bijam. And not only kutam and bijam, but also the root cause of our suffering is
Ignorance.
avidya. It removes avidya as well. So the pure devotional service, that I want you to cover klesagani, it removes aprarabdha, prarabdha, kuta, bija, and avidya. It removes everything. Yes, what else?
Hare Krishna. Second characteristics of the Bhakti, Subhada. Subhada means Bhakti bestows 4 types of auspiciousness. First one, benefit to everyone. And second one, attracts everyone. Third one, bestows good qualities. Fourth one, bestows superior happiness. First one, benefits everyone and attracts everyone. For example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in traveling in Jharkhand forest, including animals like tiger, elephants, deer, and all wild animals to dance and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra in ecstasy. That one example, and then bestow good qualities. Unflinching devotees of the Lord as the Lord and His followers like demigods and sages, along with the good qualities under the control, one's control, but non-devotees has no such good qualities. That reference Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th chapter, 18th canto, 12th verse. Yashasti Bhakti Bhagavati Akinchana Sarvai Gunistatra Samaskite Suraga. Simply by being engaged in Krishna consciousness, one can easily give up all nonsense and develop high character. That one. And then next one, Bhakti gives happiness of 3 types. From material things, from Brahman realization, from the Supreme Lord. So that one example, Lord Shiva told us Sati. By Bhakti, the devotee achieves mystic power, that Bhakti, Mukti, and above all, and eternal happiness is only in service to Krishna.
Okay. Anybody else would like to add here on the Subhada? Mrugai pastime, how he became compassionate even for him. Yes. What else? Jagai Matai.
Even Dhruv Maharaj also says the way naturally water flows down.
Yes.
So similarly, the devotees are friendly and good.
Yes, yes. So how a pure devotional service, which you do it, it attracts everyone's heart. So the same Suruchi was so blasphemous towards Dhruva, but then once Dhruva attained the blessings of their Lord, Krishna Garva, and once he returned, and then how Suruchi was so right, loving towards Dhruva. Right? Yes.
And Varsana pastime.
In the Varsana pastime also, that how even a tiger could really engage in the service of his spiritual master. Yes. And we discussed from that 10th canto, that verse, which really says that how by practicing the devotional service, all the animal propensities of a person really goes away, and then it
So we were
becomes free from inimical attitude, and they become friendly. Yes.
So we were also telling how people who are educated in very high informal educations are not able to give their bad habits, but even uneducated people with psychology, Krishna consciousness, they are able to
Yes.
attain good qualities of.
Very good. Thank you, Aditi. Prabhupada talks about that how in this movement of Krishna consciousness, that how sometimes so-called uneducated people also, they become the topmost. Ati Nitya Chatakara. This is the quality of the pure devotional service. But then sometimes somebody might be born in with a high Janma, Aishwarya, Sutta, Sevir, but because they are devoid of Krishna consciousness, Krishna Bhakti, they are equivalent to just a fallen souls. And they really degrade over a period of time in such a nonsensical way. Thank you.
These raising hands and loudly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamudra, all will be delivered. So by raising hands, no people in the heavenly planet demigods will be delivered.
Yes.
Just by
Yes, by their clans, all the living entities all around, they will get delivered. And by the dust of their feet, the earth gets delivered. This is the power of a devotee who is really dancing Sankirtan. It's a nice version. Yes, everybody. Not only Stavajangam of this world, but on the higher planet and lower planets, everybody gets delivered just by the dancing of the devotees. So you should dance more and more. This is the power. Yes. What else?
devotee knows how to connect with the Lord, and also devotees they are known by the good qualities, they are not by external.
Yes. Now devotee is known by their behavior, by their achar. So yes, like that Prabhupada always does it. How do you know a person is Krishna consciousness? Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness means he is a perfect gentleman. He is a perfect gentleman. Yes. He is so sensitive in his dealings. He is so respectful to everybody because he understands the presence of the Lord everywhere. Yes. What else? Any other thoughts?
Also,
Yes, yes, okay.
it's actually for devotees, pure devotees, this, even this moksha, this liberation, it is actually small diligence.
Okay.
And also we saw what is the difference between moksha and mukti.
Okay.
Moksha means that is just free from miseries. Mukti means actually free from all your designation and situated in our consciousness.
Yes. Mukti tva anyatha rupena swarupena vyavastha. Definition from Srimad Bhagavatam 2.10.6.
And also we saw that like the customers they are quarreling, just separating
Use
the
mic.
room. That is yeah,
Yes.
husband and wife quarreling, no? So they are separating in different rooms. So that is actually
Moksha.
Mukti means real love and exchanging this love.
Very good. It's from realization. Okay. Okay. What else?
This Lord Kapila Dev to Devahuti, actually, right, my devotee does not accept liberation with no service. And we saw
Niyamanam na grunanti. Right, like, even if you give them all these 5 kinds of liberation, all these things, they will not accept it. If there is an opportunity, there is no opportunity for service to their lordships.
In fact, in that there are so many examples, like Buddha Maharaj performing the yajna. One reference.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Example.
There is was saying we were seeing many examples. So one was regarding Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he remembered Sridhar Gopal who offered prayers.
Hare Krishna, we can have one conversation. Yes, yes.
So just remembering Sridhar Gopal, how he offered his prayers without asking for anything. He was just surviving on selling banana, leaves, and related items. he didn't want anything else for himself. So he was, so when he was called to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was feeling very honored to become a member of the Lord.
So we discussed that how Caesar Kalavecha, so he was a simple, banana seller, and how he was blessed by Mahaprabhu. He was blessed by Mahaprabhu first, so the Mother Saraswati, so that he could really offer nice prayers. And then Mahaprabhu really asked, that, okay, Caesar, what benediction you want? He said, I don't need anything. Mahaprabhu was again and again, first requesting, and then ordering, then begging. And that, oh Sridhar, I want to give something, please ask. Do you want a kingdom? Do you want some mystic siddhis? Do you want this, that? I don't give anything. A devotee who has received the love of Godhead, who has received Krishna Prema, he thinks that anything else of this world is just insignificant. Tuchha, insignificant. And that's called Mukso Lagata. Yes. Any other example we discussed?
To know about that, ask him the great kingdom initially first. Afterwards, only on the devotion service, association of the devotees with the devotional service. That reference Srimad Bhagavatam 4.9.7.
Very good. And then another one we discussed about when Lord came and the devotee said, I don't need liberation and I want to be a drunkard. I don't want to be a millionaire. Millionaire verse. What is that verse? What does it say? Sorry?
4.20.
420, 20. 420, 20. Yes, Mataji, what is that millionaire verse? Mataji is millionaire. Yes.
I was thinking of 99 is better than the 100 when you said
Okay,
half.
yes, that's also correct. From 99 to 100, then he wants to become a millionaire. From 99 to directly millionaire. Yes, yes, please go ahead, Mataji. Why he wanted to be a millionaire? Yes, continue.
So like he was willing, Bhakti Maharaj was willing to perform like Ashwamedh Yagya for many times. So he did for 99 times, but as per his Gurudev, Indra was very much jealous on him. So as per his Guru's instruction, he told him to stop there in 99, not to perform the 101. So Lord Vishnu became very happy on him because he listened to his Guru's instruction and stopped there. So then he appeared in front of him, though he could not perform 100 times, but in 99 only he appeared in front of him, and he wished like he wanted him to give all the benedictions and all. Then he asked him what all things you need. So like I don't remember the slokas, but as per the sloka, he requested you give me million years because in that I want to hear the glories from the from heart of your devotees. I want to always hear, and I want to live million years.
There you go. Because once I hear, after that, Smriti Vismruta, then all my forgetfulness of yours will get removed. That once again I'll develop, reawaken, and the love of God. So I didn't need anything else. That is a prayer of Pratham. Okay. What? Next.
Vritasura said, don't want liberation anything,
Yes.
only it's a takeaway from the lotus feet of the
Yes.
only wanted bhakti from bhakti.
Very good.
That one reference 6.11.24.
Yes. Very good. And then of course one more also we discussed. Do you remember? Okay, so Kashmir that okay, how when Mother Saraswati left him because he was devoured of Krishna consciousness. One more king we discussed.
Even Devadatas generates ultimate results.
Yeah, that we will discuss later in the Sudurlabha. But then there is one more king we discussed who also didn't want liberation. We didn't have any desire. Yes, it's of Vritrasura. Vritrasura. There is a Vritrasura. And one more thing we discussed. Kolavich Sridhar we discussed. Yes, Panathur Suresh bro. Remember? The king who was sleeping.
Krishna Deva. Okay.
In Krishna.
Muchachuda.
Yes, we discussed that how he don't have any material desires. Though earlier he had asked from the devatas, I want sleep, sleep, sleep. But I said no more sleep. I just want to have your love of God. That's what we discussed from 10th kind of 51st chapter.
This one is to remove weekends, right?
Yeah, we discussed that is to remove reason. Correct. Very good. Very good. Very good. Yeah, that of course he wanted also, right? Nothing else. Yes, very good. Yes, and then let's discuss Sudhir Loha and Sudhir Loha. Yes, we discussed about Pandavas. Yes, bro. This Pandavas an episode comes again and again here also, and then yeah, later also Sri Krishna, Krishna Nityas. Yes, bro, please go ahead. Yes, you are talking about Pandavas. Yes.
So that the three repeating verses we are talking about. So that even Grahasthas can get the ultimate results achieved by renouncers. So actually, like Narada Muni actually was talking about this Prahlad Maharaj thing. But so Yudhishthira actually mind is able to understand that okay, Yudhishthira is thinking we are not fortunate because of the illusory is not actually realizing Krishna. So, but Narada Muni actually clarified that actually Supreme Personality God, Krishna actually is residing with you always. So great sages understand that and visiting your house because of that. So you are so fortunate. Because you are getting direct Krishna, actually who is actually source of all incarnation, he is associating with you always.
From this we have also hope that Krishna also can.
Hari Baba. Yes.
From this Yudhishthira and Narada conversation, we understood that under good sincere even
And do you remember
will
that?
have some hope.
Yes. Do you remember that verse, Mataji? Anybody remembers? So that's
1748. 1748, 48, 40. These three verses.
that is yes, with respect to the three verses that we discussed. But then there is standpoint 15,
75.
75, 76, 77. So this part comes here. This comes here. 74, 715, 74. So must remember this reference. Somebody might ask, "Where did you know that when I close the can also attain, which is we can be achieved by the renounce order." 715, 74. 715, 74. And then that's the same verses are 75, 76, 77. But before that, this verse comes. Okay, very good. So why? In which context we are discussing this? That how this it is Sudurlabha, this pure devotional service. Lord doesn't give this pure bhakti to anyone because after that he becomes controlled. You know, he gives the remote control to that devotee. His remote control. Lord doesn't want to be remote controlled by anyone and everyone. So he reserves the right to whom to give to this pure devotional. So that's why it's called. It is Sudurlabha.
In this context, when we were discussing the Bhagavad Gita sloka, Bahuna Janmata.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. How it is so rare. How it is so rare. Yes. Very good.
This one is sadhana bhakti but not bhava bhakti.
Yes. Yes. Very good. It gives sadhana bhakti, but so it will be there, but without it cannot be attained even after a long time. And even if practice with that attachment, Krishna does not give this bhava bhakti and prema bhakti to practitioner immediately. So that's why it is rarely achieved. Okay.
So we talk about the three kind of siddhas. Nitya siddha,
Sadhana
sadhana,
siddha. Very good. And then, though we are talking about it is so difficult, at the same time, we discuss that how, it is also easy to develop, to awaken this pure devotional service. This by two things, with complete attachment to the process. That's why we discussed 1 to 14. And also, once we worship Krishna exclusively. Okay, and then Sandarananda Vishesatma. What is Santarananda? So yes, once again, this process is so blissful. Yes, yes, so blissful. Rupa Goswami says that if Brahmananda, or the happiness of becoming one with the Supreme, is multiplied by 1 trillion fold, it still cannot compare to an atomic fraction of the happiness derived from the ocean of devotional service. O Guru of the universe, on seeing you directly, I am situated in a pure ocean of bliss. All the happiness of impersonal Brahman is as insignificant as the water in the footprint of a cow. And I think all of you know this pastime. Which pastime this is? Nayanasya Kadaravinda Kinjal Kamisra Tulasi Makaranda Vayo Antargata Savivarena Chakarate Samsobham Aksarajusam Apichitta Tanva. So this is the section?
Four Kumaras visiting.
Yes, for Kumaras visiting. After the Jai Vijay, the Lord himself appears, and then just by having the fragrance of the Lord, of the Tulasi that is in the lotus feet of the Lord, and these four Kumaras, they got transformed. This is the power of this Lord. How even a person might be coming with an impersonal understanding, they somehow are getting association with the Lord, their heart gets transformed. Yes. So this happiness, we discussed in. So I don't know how many of you now remember this 6, so let me bring this up again. So here. So here, see, the happiness is there in Subhada also, as a part of the 4 categories of Subhada, and one is best happiness. In Subhada also we got this, and then here also we say that okay, how this Bhava Bhakti also gives so much of happiness that you consider even the moksha is also just insignificant. And here also Prema also we get this Sandrananda Vishesanta, this incalculated bliss. So the happiness is there, but the degree of happiness or the bliss increases more and more as we move from sadhana bhakti to bhava bhakti to prema bhakti. Okay. So yes, the subhada, the superior. Okay. So how it is? Subhada is just superior to sense gratification or liberation, but in moksha lagutakrut, right, like minimizes the value of sense gratification. Right? And in Sandhananda Vishesatma, one cannot even perceive the existence of sense gratification. It is so high. So 3 levels of happiness that we get it at sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. Okay. Yes. This is another analogy which really talks about 3 types of ananda in the path of self-realization. So, of course, here we are not talking about Jadananda or Swargananda. We are really starting from Brahmananda. So, the Brahmananda is just like an unpolished diamond. Like yes, it is a stream of calm state of various endless blissfulness, tranquil state of non-movement. But then once you talk about Swarupananda, right, where we really understand that we are Krishna Das, one has the delight of realizing his perfection, eternal perfection. It's called polished diamond. And Swarupa Sakti Ananda is that we are not only realize that we are Dasa, but we are engaged in the service of the Lord and his devotees. Higher delight of Vaishnavas which enjoys in the presence of the Lord and in serving the Lord. Right? Where? Because we are engaged in this Swarupa Sakti, his Antaranga Sakti. Once you are engaged in the service of the Lord and his devotees, that means we are putting the diamond into a necklace and it becomes more beautiful. Isn't it, Mataji? Yes. Yes. Everyone so beautiful. Okay. Yes. Somebody can read it.
Incalculable abundance of bliss. In the Hari Bhakti, Sudhir Prahlad while satisfying Lord Narasimhadeva by his prayer says, "My dear Lord of the universe, I am feeling transcendental pleasure in your presence and have become merged in the ocean of happiness. I now consider the happiness of Brahmananda to be no more than the water in the impression left by a corpse home in the earth compared to this ocean of bliss."
Yes. Yes, all of us know this. Yes, please continue.
My dear Lord, some of the fortunate persons who are swimming in the ocean of your nectar of devotion and who are releasing in the nectar of narration of the river pastimes certainly know ecstasies which immediately minimize the value of the happiness derived from dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Such a transcendental devotee regards any kind of happiness other than the devotional service as no better than the straw in the sea.
So in Damodar Shtakam also there is a verse, right? It's Ananda Mantna. Ananda Kunda. Ananda Kunda Nimajit. Like how Satyavrat Muni, he wanted to be really absorbed in the of Ananda Kunda, the well of Ananda Kunda. So we always remember this beautiful analogy from Mahabharata, where it says that how that you take this dough and especially gulab jamun dough, and then you put it on a hot fry oil pan, and then it really becomes so painful for that jamun. It becomes really black with so much of heat. But then the loving mother, what she does, she takes that jamun which is really getting fried out and she puts into the sugar syrup. That's what Lord does. He said, oh, all these living entities, they are getting fried out with Traya Tapa. You know, their heart is becoming blackened there. You know, they really become so miserable. Now what he will do? The spiritual master, it brings the jivas, which is really suffering from this Trayatapa, and is put into Ananda Kunda. This Bhakti Rasa Amrita Sindhu, so that the devotees can sing and chant and dance and feast. Prabhupada says the only purpose of our movement is singing, dancing and feasting. Nothing else. Singing, dancing and feasting. Have a wonderful kitchen in your home. Big kitchen which can feed thousands. And we offer it. That's what this process is singing, dancing, and feasting. Somebody might be wondering where it is, especially Gaurangera Ruddhipada and that bhajan. Prabhupada was giving a purport. In the purport, in the first paragraph, Prabhupada is talking about the purpose of our movement is singing, dancing, feasting. Purpose of our movement is singing. He repeats it 6 times. You have seen that? I've shown you sometime. No? Okay. Okay. Sometimes you can take the help of AI. Gaurangera Ruddhipada. I always quote this verse in my this. Somebody can read this.
Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are very pleasing because the basic principles of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement are chanting, dancing, and eating Krishna Prasad. He made his headquarters in Jagannath Puri and would dance, chant, and then immediately call for prasada to be distributed to the devotees. They were so pleased that every day hundreds of men would come to chant and dance with Lord Chaitanya. The temple proprietor, the king of Odisha, Maharaj Pratapa had an open order to the workers in the temple to supply as much prasada to Lord Chaitanya's devotees as they wanted. Therefore, his pastimes are very pleasing. Chant, dance, and take prasad. If one is captivated by the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya simply by chanting and dancing and eating prasada, the dirty things in his heart will all become cleansed. The heart of anyone who takes to this movement of chanting, dancing, and eating Krishna prasada will surely be cleansed of all dirty material contamination. Hari
So
Bol.
this is one paragraph. How many times Prabhupada repeats? Right? If somebody is really doubting, oh, this movement is so much tapasya, we have to do this ekadasi, we have to wake up early in the morning, Mangala, focusing on main business is chanting, dancing, listening. That's what Mahaprabhu desires. So it's very clear. That's why it is called Sandarananda Visesa. At this point of time, we might not be able to realize it. Yes. Yes. Okay.
How we can split that water?
So Ananda, Visesa Ananda. Visesa Ananda. It's a special bliss. Special bliss. Sandarananda. Condensed bliss. Condensed bliss. Yes, especially there's so many beautiful sections are there. Like just that's a few of them. How like Lord Krishna, his devotees' pastimes are so sweet. Yes, that's why a devotee doesn't want anything else. The other day, we were discussing about the prayers of Bhajendra also. Ekandiniyasya kanchanartham vanchanti evi bhagavat prapanna. Ati adbhuta tatcharitam sumangalam gayanti ananda samudra magna. This 8:320 verse. This really talks about that how a devotee is not kanchanartham, doesn't need anything else. He is not looking for anything else. Because they are gayanti. Ati adbhutam charitam. Because they are always remembering, hearing the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. That is especially Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, she talks about a very beautiful pastime. There are so many pastimes of it's just that one day every morning Krishna wants to really go along with his brother, and along with his friends to go to the forest. And the mother Yasoda, see, is also getting ready much before that, so that she can offer so many things to Krishna. She can have something and she can carry something. And Mother Yasoda is calling Rakta, oh Rakta, please come, please come. And please take this raw load. And Krishna would be hungry as he goes. Because he really goes to very far, he plays so much. Please take this. And I know that you do not say that I need something, but you ensure you give it to him, once in a while. And yes, Krishna might forget to it, but he should remind him. And like they said, oh, okay, man, I will do it. We'll remember and we'll offer it to him. And then as they would be leaving, then Yashodamai calls, Patrak, 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 please come. Usually it's so hot, right? And you know, Ghana might really get thirsty. So now you take this rose fragrance water and you offer it to Krishna. That's it. But they said, no, okay, Maya, don't worry. As they were living, this Raktak and Patrak, they were like, their friends who are, you can say, the junior to Krishna. They always serve Krishna in Dasya Bhav. And then, and a mother Yashoda would call Sudama, Sridama, Madhumangal. Hey, please come, listen. They would come running. And Mother Yashoda, what happened? Do you know, yesterday at night I saw that Krishna had so many scratches on his body. And I realized that definitely you would have really gone through some sliding or you should have played somewhere. And definitely Krishna would have really hurt himself. So please, ensure that you don't do that mistake again. If you do that, now the friends they were looking at each other. What to tell to mother. But then anyway, okay, whatever you have done, but ensure that you don't do that mistake again, so that Krishna is really healthy and without any scratches. And then as they would be leaving, and then Krishna would call, oh Balaram, oh Bhadra, you come. Man, what happened? No, you see, uh, there's so many demons keep coming every day. I don't know from where they are coming, but you are elders to Krishna, so please ensure that you should protect Krishna all the point of time. Just like the eyelid protects the eye, similarly you elders should protect Krishna. And then, all everybody starts moving, and then Krishna comes forward and tells Mother Yashoda, "Oh Maya, why you worried so much? You think that there's a hot sun and so on, but don't you know that in Vrindavan, all the trees in the forest, they are always eager to welcome, and that's why they have big branches. Even the sun cannot penetrate. Right? So it's just so cool, so sad. And you are thinking that there will be so many thorns and bushes and like that would break my this one. But all the flowers they are really stretched. They are looking forward with so much of beautiful road, right, to welcome me. So I don't feel any kind of pain. And yes, we are talking about right all this heat or cold or anything like that. All it's Vrindavan is so beautiful, so charming, so enchanting. You know, the only thing that we do is play. Food for our breakfast or not? They would start. And then they would start. Is it that whether Mother Yashoda will continue to chat with the younger gopas like Rakta Patrak or the friendly gopas like Sudama, Madhumangal, right? To take care of Krishna or with Balaram, Bhadra, to protect Krishna. Right? Whether all these discussions will continue, then what will happen to us? And they started kind of crying out, and then Krishna realized, Maya, now you have to go. Please leave us. And then Krishna go along with all his friends to the forest. You're like, yes, Then Mother would tell Mother Yashoda as they were going, Maya, why you are worried that we are suffering there in the forest? I see that you are suffering because you are away from Krishna. That's why you don't want to leave us. But all the time we keep on playing. So this is how the loving interaction, the loving pastimes of Krishna along with his devotees. Yes, so not only the devotees at that point of time they really get benefited, right, being associated with the Krishna. But even after hearing those pastimes, even after millenniums, we really get free from all the unhappiness. This is the power of Sundarananda Vishesa. How Krishna is so enchanting, how Krishna is so blissful. That's why the only desire of the devotees is to continue to hear Krishna Katha again and again. Yes. That's it. Tadeva ramyam ruchiram avamram Tadeva shaswat manaso mamotsam Tadeva soka navasoshanam runam Yaduttama sloka yasanugiyate. Krishna's pastimes are, ever refreshing, ever enchanting. Tadeva ramyam ruchiram navam. So that's why Krishna's pastime, though we hear of Damodar Leela again and again, but every time it becomes so sweet. Tadeva Nityotsavam. Always it's an eternal festival. Eternal festival. Yes. Like last weekend, and Vyasudev Kanantamshay Maharaj and our Sajapur, we were discussing that how Maharaj, he always requesting the devotees, you should have festival every day. Because Krishna performs festival every moment. This is what Sandarananda says. There are always devotees are in place. On our festival means, yes, there is feast for the eyes, feast for the ears, feast for the tongue, feast for everything. There's a feast everywhere. Every moment there is a feast. Every moment there is a Nityosavam, not Rup. There's a deep even when the gopis are saying that there's a feast for the eyes, because whenever we see you, it is so enchanting, so blissful. This is a feast. This is what the Lord, the devotees releases more and more. So yes, and then last one is Krishna Akarshana Chansa. The pure devotional service is the only means to attract Krishna. What can we say about it? Yes, all these things definitely sound. We might not be able to realize so much because this is the characteristics of Prema Bhakti, and we are at this point of time sadhana bhaktas, like all this Sandaranda Vishisatma, Krishna Akarshana. Might not be able to realize, but then we only understand how Krishna is Madan Mohan, and who is Madan Mohan Mohini? Then Krishna, who is an attractor, who attracts even the Cupid, but then he is attracted by Srimati Radharani. Govinda Nandini Radha, Govinda Mohini, Govinda Sarvashra Sarva, Namta Siromani, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Sundara Goswami talks about that how Radharani is Govinda Anandini. And she always, thinks that how can I serve Krishna? Govinda Anandini Radha, Govinda Mohini. She enchants Govinda. Govinda Sarvasva Sarva Kanta Shiromani. She is Kanta Shiromani. Out of all the beloveds of Krishna, she is Shiromani. She is the prominent of him. And she has the power to attract the most attractive person, Krishna. That is a power of Krishna. I always like this. All of you know this, very beautiful. Kumata Kanchana Chagarvahari Gaurava Pitanam Chitabja Gandha Kirtinindi Saurava Vallavesha Sono Sarva Vanchitartha Sadhika Mainamatma Pada Padma Dashadastu Radhika. There's a meaning of this one. This is the Radhika style. Her splendorous golden complex. And this is the pride of lotus flower, anointed with the tinge of red kumkum. Her sweet fragrance mocks the flame of the aroma of the lotus flower. sprinkled with saffron power. She is fully qualified to fulfill all the desires of the son of the king of the coward men. May Sri Radhika bestow upon me the service of her own lotus spirit. Vishwavandyayovatadhivandita piyarama Rupanavyanuyovanadi sampradana yatsama Silahadalilaya jasayatostinadhika Mayhamatma pada padmadasya. Although the goddess of fortune Lakshmi Devi is adored by other youthful goddesses who are themselves glorified throughout the universe, still she is nowhere near Radhika in the matter of beauty, praiseworthy worthfulness, or other divine feminine opulences. There is no one in the material or the spiritual worlds that is superior to Radhika and the expression of naturally loving pastimes. May Sri Radhika bestow upon me the service of her own lotus feet. Rasalasya Geeta Narma Sadgalali Pandita Prema Ramya Rupa Vesa Sadgunali Mandita Vishwanavya Gopaya Siddhali Topiyadhika Mayamatma Pada Padmadasya Dasturadhika. She is very learned in many transcendental arts, such as performing in the rasa dance, singing, and joking. She is decorated with many divine qualities, such as loving nature, exquisite beauty, and wonderful garments and ornaments. Even among the coward damsels of Raja, who are praised by the entire universe, is the best in every way. May Sri Radhika bestow upon me the service of the lotus feet. So yes, we might not have that, but we can really pray and to Srimati Radhika that she can really offer an iota, a fraction of the devotional service that she has towards Krishna. When we discussed already how this part. Okay. Any questions, comments so far before we proceed to the next? Yes.
Patiently means destroying the material sufferings.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, moksha lavika is also moksha coming out of the material subjects.
Yes.
What's the difference with Patiently and moksha lavika?
Moksha lakuta krit. Moksha lakuta krit means we are considering your moksha to be insignificant. Insignificant. That as people would really like to go attend moksha, but a person who has really attained Bhava Bhakti, he feels that this moksha is just insignificant because he has already achieved so much of happiness. Right? This klesagni means you are just removing the distress, removing the suffering. But here, the Bhava Bhakti means you have received so much of happiness that you are considering the moksha to be insignificant.
Here they are comparing the distress, here they are
Yes.
comparing the happiness.
Yes. Or like we just discussed even the last 3 levels of happiness we discussed. Right? Like here, Subhada means just like yes, we are talking about klesagni, it removes all the sufferings, and then Subhada means you are getting some happiness superior to the sense gratification. Right? Okay, nice thinking, dancing, feasting. But then moksha laguta means you have attained so much love that even the moksha also feels insignificant. It minimizes the value of moksha or the liberation. Right? But then as you really go to the next, it's a prema bhakti, which is Sundaranda Visasambhava, you don't even consider that there is existence of moksha anywhere. Means you are so much of an place. Just like sometimes we go in an airplane, once you take off, we really see the size of the buildings, right? How it becomes insignificant over a period of time. Similarly, this material world, the Jadananda, becomes insignificant as we go higher and higher, because we really achieve the Sundarananda Vishesha. Does it answer, Mataji?
Superior to happiness of sense gratification or liberation also.
Yes, it's liberation also. It's just little higher, little higher. Right? But then it's just once again a relative, right? A relative. It's a higher to sense gratification or liberation. But then once you go to Bhava Bhakti, it will minimize it. Like it's okay. Once you talk about 9900, and then 99 to 1 million, and then we are talking about 99 to like an unlimited infinite number. Right? So it's the relative bliss that we get as we move from sadhana bhakti to bhava bhakti to prema. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Then now let's move forward. Okay, I think this summary, I think everybody got it. That how Klesagni removes this aprarabdha, prarabdha, and Kutam Bijam Avidya, so that gives this auspiciousness. Moksha Lagutakrut, how it directs concept of liberation, Sudhir how it is really achieved, and Sundarandri showing the contents bliss and Krishna Krishna continues to attract Krishna. Okay, so now we'll go to the next sadhana bhakti. So, what we have been discussing so far? We have been discussing this Purva Vibhag, the eastern section of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and then we discussed Samanya Bhakti. In Samanya Bhakti, we discussed first about the definition of pure devotional service. What is the definition of pure devotional service we discussed? Anya blessed. Then we discussed about the characteristics of pure devotional service. We talked about 6 characteristics. And now we'll be going to sadhana bhakti. And then we will discuss, like, this is what even the whole our NOD Bhakti Sastri course is all about. We'll be discussing a lot on this sadhana bhakti from chapter 2 to chapter 16. And the bhava bhakti is chapter 17, 18, and prema bhakti is in chapter 19. Okay. So, okay, before going there, let's read a little bit from this chapter 2.
In that only Uttama Bhakti we have seen.
Yes, yes.
And this Subhadha and Klesha, they both come under Sadhana Bhakti.
Yes. So here, once you talk about, these are all Uttama Bhakti. These are all Uttama Bhakti. And Uttama Bhakti, like we'll say, okay, we can say these are the 3 stages, or some says it's the 3 types of Uttama Bhakti.
Sadhana Bhakti also
Uttama Bhakti, yes. Yes, yes. We'll be discussing that. Now that how sadhana bhakti also as the Uttama Dhyana Vilasita Sunyam Jnana Karma Dhyana Uttam, that also is there in sadhana bhakti. Yes, yes, yes. Uttama Bhakti, is having these 3 types. So maybe you can read this chapter 2. 3 categories of devotional service.
The first stages of devotion.
Yes.
The 3 categories of devotional service which Sri Rupa Goswami describes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu are listed as devotional service in practice, devotional service in ecstasy, devotional service in true love of Godhead. There are many subheadings in each of these categories. Generally, it is understood that in the category of devotional service in practice, there are 2 different qualities. Devotional service in devotional pure love of Godhead has 6 qualities. Qualities will be explained by Srila Rupa Goswami later on. In this connection, Srila Rupa Goswami suggests that the person eligible for Krishna or devotional service can be classified by this particular taste. He says that devotional service is a continual process from one's previous life. No one can take to devotional service unless he has had some previous connection with it. For example, suppose in this life I practice devotional service to some extent, Even though it is not 100% perfectly performed, whatever I have done will not be lost. In my next life, from the very point where I stop in this life, I shall begin again. In this way, there is always a continuity. But even if there is no continuity, if only by chance a person takes interest in a few devotees' instruction, he can be accepted and can advance in devotional service. Anyway, for persons who have a natural taste for understanding books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, devotional service is easier than for those who simply accustomed to mental speculation argumentative process. To support this statement, there are many authoritative assertions by the learned scholars of Bible, Bible ages. According to their general opinion, a person may become governed by certain convictions derived by his own arguments and decisions. Then another person who may be a greater logician will nullify these conclusions and establish another thesis. In this way, the path of argument will never be safe or confusing. Srimad Bhagavatam recommends therefore that one should follow in the footsteps of the other.
Hare Krishna. So, okay, what you understood here?
One has to follow the footsteps of the angels.
Okay. Yes, Mataji.
These three are mentioned. Devotional service and practice, that is sadhana.
Yes.
Devotional service is the same power, and devotional service is not
Yes. So, yeah. So first of all, there are three types of bhakti, or some call as three stages of bhakti. Three stages of bhakti, sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. Sadhana bhakti means what? The devotional service in practice. And prema bhakti means devotional service in perfection. That's a love of God. That's a prema bhakti. And this in between is bhava bhakti. So some might say that, okay, one is at sadhana stage, another is at a sadhya stage. One is at practice, another is at perfection level. What is this bhava bhakti? So usually we can really also put it as one is at a sadhana bhakti, where we perform sadhana, right, through our senses to achieve the love of Godhead. And then another one is once we attain love of Godhead, then we continue to perform devotional service. That is a prema bhakti. Some might ask that, okay, why there is a need for this stage of bhava bhakti? So our acharyas, they are putting, especially Rupa Goswami, is really putting that forward. He is saying that why there is a need to bring this third stage, like, or in interpretation for bhava bhakti. He says that in bhava bhakti, why we cannot put it into the category of prema bhakti? Why? Because at bhava stage also, it is mentioned that there is not a complete manifestation of the rasa. And at bhava stage also, it is not completely free from all the anarthas yet. There are some tinges of anarthas still there. And yes, again, like at bhava stage, one is really qualified to see Krishna, but our interaction with Krishna is still sporadic. And then, why it is cannot be clubbed together with sadhana? Then, because the goal of sadhana bhakti is to really attain bhava. And at sadhana, we are not qualified to Sri Krishna. At bhava, we are qualified to see Krishna. You understood the difference that we discussed? Yes, the sadhana level, we are really engaging our senses in the service of Krishna to achieve bhava. And at a bhava, yes, yes, somebody is qualified to see Krishna. One has really achieved the goal of sadhana bhakti. And at the same time, still some anarthas are there, and still, like his interaction with Krishna is still sporadic, and all the rasas are still at budding stage, not yet completely developed. So that's why Prabhupada calls it the devotional service in ecstasy, in the bhava stage. And then at prema, it's a completely blossomed. A devotee really, associates with Krishna and performs, so wonderful devotional service and so blissful way. Okay. Now coming back to sadhana bhakti. So where does the bhakti start? That's what bhakti is here. Fast stages of devotion. How does that bhakti start? How does that bhakti start?
Yes.
Hmm?
Previous life.
Previous life. And how does that bhakti start in previous life?
Mercy of
Mercy of the
Mercy of the Lord.
Yes, Sanatana says we want to say something.
Bhat seva can be done with there is a first stage. Sukruti.
Yes.
Sukruti from
Sukruti. Very
So in
good.
case of Narada Muni,
Yes.
God like
Mahat Kripa.
Bhat.
Very good. So, so
Satam Krupa. Satam Krupa. Bhat seva.
Hmm. So, how does one start the execution of devotional service? It starts with the attraction of devotional service. And how the attraction of devotional service starts? By the execution of devotional service. So, there is a loop, there is a virtuous loop that really goes on. How does one start devotional service? By the attraction of devotional service. How do you get attraction? By execution. Right? But then, how do you really get that attraction? Right? That's through the causeless mercy. Yes. It's like somebody comes into Krishna consciousness, and maybe we are the Gita course speaker. The first day we speak, and then at the end of the class he comes forward and says that Prabhuji, now I want to chant rounds, and then I want to follow these principles, and then we start feeling that what is such a great speaker I am. That in one class, chutki mein, right? I am reading the Is it? Sometimes you think like, but then we don't understand that how he had developed some sukruti, so that he came to the program, and then he started appreciating it. But because there's still some other people, they also got the same class. But they could not appreciate it. Why? Because they didn't have that sukruti. Yes, somebody might have some intelligent quotient, IQ, but because they don't have spiritual quotient, that sukruti, they don't get it. Yeah, skill. So sometimes we see that our Amaglida Prabhu was there 1.5 years back. He was giving another example. Some of you might have heard, there was a competition to really break a wall. One Pahilwan came, boom, nothing happened. Another Pahilwan came, boom, nothing happened. And it keep on happening, but the wall was not breaking. At last, some patlus, some person came and he just pushed it a little bit. The wall collapsed. And then I started, oh, you see, I did it. Right? Or there's a big Vyas Puja program happening. And one Mataji, packed so many cake. Another Mataji, she prepared so many baking. Another Mataji, put really so much of effort in putting the cream. And finally, one simple, girl comes and he puts a cherry, on top of that cake. No, I really finished the cake. So most of the times, right, like why we are saying that sometimes we underestimate, the value of effort that we're really putting, and somebody doesn't accept uh, Krishna consciousness at one go. Then we said, oh, waste ho gaya, right? There is no value of this program. Oh, there is no value of, we went for book distribution, we approached so many, but nobody took it. Oh, invited so many, the people came, but nobody started chanting. Right? What do we, don't recognize that if they have just come, right, or if they have just seen a devotee smiling on the road, holding a Bhagavad Gita, and the devotee smiled, and they really saw that, oh, how this wonderful devotee, how a sweet devotee. They just appreciated the smiling of a devotee. Their Bhakti Unmukhi Surati started. Their spiritual quotient started. So it's not by just only giving a big class somebody can become a big devotee. No, just even by smiling, somebody's Bhakti Unmukhi Surati starts, and then he starts taking the pressure devotion service. Okay? Or like in our Sunday feast and so on. Then we offer them a nice feast, and at the end, usually we go around and ask them, how was the feast? And if they just say wonderful, they are Bhakti Unmukhi Surati start. It just somehow or other they appreciate the bhakti. They appreciate something related to bhakti. Then Lord said, oh wow, she really liked it. The Lord, the devotee showers more mercy, Lord showers more mercy. And they really go into, because they executed devotional service, they appreciate it. Somebody can read 1836. We have, I think, shown it earlier as well, right? This Queen Kunti prayer. Yeah, we have read that. Srunanti gayanti grunanti abhikshana smaranti nandanti tabehitam jana taiva pasyanti achirena tavatam bhavo pravaho paramam padambujam. Right? So how? Yes, taiva pasyanti achirena tava. Achirena, very soon. What? Bhava pravaho paramam padambujam. They will really attain the lotus feet of the Lord, and they will be really free from this bhava pravaha. Why? Somebody does Srunanti, Gayanti, Grunanti, Abhikshana, and Smaranti, Nandanti. Even if somebody becomes little happy in seeing others performing devotional service. Nandanti. So somebody becomes happy, somebody really appreciates. And oh wow, what a wonderful Janmashtami. Oh, it is beautifully so organized nicely. Somehow or other, we give them the opportunity to appreciate Krishna. We appreciate, Prabhupada. We appreciate, this process of bhakti. They have devotion stars. This is what it is. Yes. This is the causeless mercy. This is the causeless mercy. Otherwise, this devotion, especially in Madhurya Kadambini, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he elaborates this point very much. Because as we discussed in the first class itself, in Madhurya Kadambini also, is an elaboration commentary of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu's these two verses. The Sadhav Swadha. Vishwanath Chakravarti elaborates a lot on that. And there, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur really analyzes how does the bhakti starts. Really, does bhakti start, by performing yajna, dana, tapa, karma? Is it? Does it really start? Yeah. Yeah. Yes, yes. Okay, some Sukruti Mata is said. Do you know how many Sukrutis are there?
That is also classification.
Yeah, that's also a good question. No? So let's discuss that first. What are the different Sukrutis are there?
Ajnata Sukriti.
Yes, very good, very good. Yes, I put it for all the pleasure of all the devotees. That we quoted. Okay, but this is there. Yes, this is what I want to say. Okay, so especially it is there. Okay, so first maybe somebody can read this, and then yes, somebody can read this. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita 22:46. Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about this bhagya. How does it? How does it?
Eligibility for Krishna consciousness. Srila Bhakti Vinoda Thakura explains that this point is this bhagya, fortune, the result of an accident or something else. In the scriptures, devotional service and pious activity are considered fortunate. Pious activities can be divided into three categories. Pious activities that awaken one's dormant Krishna consciousness are called bhakti.
Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti.
Pious
Bhogonmukhi Sukriti and pious activity that enable the living entities to merge into the existence of Supreme are called Moksha Unmukhi Sukriti. And these last two awards of pious activity are not actually fortunate. Pious activities are fortunate when they help one become Krishna consciousness. The good fortune of Bhakti Unmukhi is attainable only when one comes in contact with the devotee. By associating with the devotee willingly or unwillingly, advances in devotional service. And thus one's dormant Krishna consciousness is awakened. So here he talks about Bhoga Unmukha Sukriti, Moksha Unmukha Sukriti, and Bhakti Unmukha Sukriti. If somebody does Bhakti Unmukha Sukriti, this is what called Punya. Okay, somebody is really born Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Srivi, somebody is a material opulent life. That is a Bhoga Unmukha Sukriti. Right? Moksha Unmukha Sukriti means that yes, somebody has really attained some Sukriti to attain this moksha, to attain this liberation, but still this is zero, right? Karma is this we call as a negative, the zero, right? This is what we call the consciousness graph. Right? So you still at a moksha unmukhi sukriti, but to attain bhakti unmukhi sukriti, we really need the association of devotee. We need the causeless mercy of Guru and Krishna, and that's when the good fortune arises. And good fortune arises. So especially devotees have written a nice book. How many of you have read that book? Good fortune arises. This is the biography of Guru Govinda Swami Maharaj. Very nice book. So yes, Brahmande Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Jiva Guru Krishna Prasad. Bhagyavan. How somebody becomes Bhagyavan? When good fortune arises, when you get a big lottery of 1 crore rupees, we will KBC. Or somebody is Bhagyavan, that unko moksha mil gaya. No. The real Bhagyavan is that person who has really got some bhakti unmukha. Yes. Sorry. Punya is here, Bhoga Unmukhi Sukriti. That's just a piety, material piety. But bhakti is beyond everything. We have discussed this also one time. Some devotees, they were in an Brajmandal Parikrama with Dinabandhu Prabhu. And everybody know Dinabandhu Prabhu. He was there in Vrindavan Yatra also. And he had come and sing that beautiful song. Sundara Vala Sachi Dulala Nachat Hai. You remember that? We are in Brajmandal. How many were there in Vrindavan Yatra for ISKCON Whitefield? Were there? And Dinabandhu Prabhu had come. No. Yes. Dinabandhu Prabhu is he is from US, but then he is like living in Braj for years.
Oh, Dinabandhu
Prabhu. Yes. I think who.
He's elderly.
He's pretty elderly and he speaks Braj Bhasa only. He really speaks a lot. Right? Braj Katha.
Oh, yes.
He had come now. Like I was discussing another instance. I was reminding one devotee, Prabhuji, do you remember that? We had gone to Puri Yatra and we had gone to that, Sat Goswami Mat. Which is that place? I don't remember. I said, Prabhuji, do you remember in Puri Yatra that we had gone, 2.5, 3 years back, where we had samosas? Yes, Prabhuji. You remember in Puri Yatra? You are there in Puri. How many of you are there in Puri Yatra? You are there? We had a samosa, right? Remember? One day early morning breakfast. Prabhu is here. Do you remember what this is? Okay, very soon we are going again to Puri Yatra. Yes. You had samosa. You remember what this is? Yes. Yes. Early morning. It's near to our Haridas Thakur Samadhi and our ISKCON temple in Bhakti. Yes. Maybe it's time to go once again to Puri. I think on September 29th to October 3rd, we are going to Puri Yatra from our center. Yes. So what was Manda Samanda Matayo Manda Bhagya. We are heard of Pali, so we are reforming again and again.
This is one nice way. I think you remember one place. Okay.
Yes, that is a place of Saru Damodar Goswami, that's a place of Jagadanda Pandit. That's where Mahaprabhu used to go and yes, all the devotees, they will, oh, do you remember? We had gone in a boat, from our Mayapur, Prabhupada Ghat to Godrum. In boat I remember. Right, yeah. Or like, I remember the first time I received the halwa. I had forgotten, everything else. It was 1996, in January or so, right? The devotees from our ISKCON Bhubaneswar temple, they had come to our college, a small program, and had a nice discount. It was something, but then at the end they gave us a nice halwa. Somehow our appreciation for Krishna starts somewhere, and then Lord really goes.
Spiritual quotient.
Yes, that's a spiritual quotient, right? The account really gets increased more and more. Yes, coming to Dinabandhu Prabhu. So, Dinabandhu Prabhu, he had gone, he had taken a couple of devotees for this Brajmandal Parikrama, and then he went to Brahmanda Ghat. Our Vrindavan Parikrama also, he had also gone to Brahmanda Ghat. Can you remember? No? Yes. Brahmanda Ghat we have gone. And a lot of devotees, what they do, right? We don't just go for this yatra. Why do you go for yatra? Yes, here the devotees we go, we hear that pastimes, we release that place on that day. But once we come back, we remember that again and again. A lot of devotees, before chanting, they really go to Dham before taking shelter of Nam. Right? So yes, always a lot of devotees, they take shelter. They do Govardhan Parikrama, they do Puri Parikrama, they do Navadip Parikrama. They really go and visit. Remember, that's how we really engage our senses. We engage our mind. We go to the different places, we go to different Samadhi mandirs, and then we take shelter and then we start chanting. So yes, in Brahmanda Ghat, and in Brahmanda Ghat, all the devotees, they went to Yamuna to take bath. And then Navandha Prabhu, he was really glorifying Yamuna. They're saying that, do you know the glories of Ganga? Glories of Ganga means all your sinful activities, all your everything will really get washed away. Right? But do you know what is the glory of Yamuna? All your pious activities also will be and also washed away. And somebody started working out. Oh, is it? Our piety will go away. Yes, and that's where our all our this karmic account of this sinful activities or the material piety also will get zero. But then when we get this bhakti and peace of God, that is the advantage. Because and I say that even if you are attached to a gulab jamun, then you have to take birth again. Because you have your ruchi, your bhava, your shraddha is still there in the material world. That's what you missed. Want to take a couple of minutes break and then we'll continue. We'll discuss the definition of sadhana.
CC Madhya 20 to 46, it doesn't have this complete.
Sorry.
CC Madhya 20 to 46, it doesn't have the complete.
This
Go.
this this is there.
Srila Bhakti talk about. So it doesn't have any purpose and it's referring to 10, 51, 32.
Yes.
53. CC Madhya.